Divine purpose revealed. 3 miraculous ways God confirms your sacred calling for this season. In the heart of the quaint English village, a divine whisper danced on the breeze that rustled through the rolling hills. It was a call, a beckoning of sorts, echoing with urgency in the spirit of Mary, a devoted churchgoer. Every Sunday she sat among her fellow villagers, but as of late, something stirred deep within her, a holy unrest that defied the routine she had known. What was this sacred nudge? A divine mystery unfolding, tugging at her heartstrings. One day, while tending to her garden, Mary noticed an unusual light flickering from the old church steeple, a pulse of golden warmth that seemed to pierce through the clouds like divine rays. Was it a mere trick of the eye? Or perhaps the first sign of a miraculous calling? She felt the warmth gather like a cloak around her shoulders, kindling a fire of hope. Yet shadows danced around her. The church was struggling. Families in the village hungered not just for bread but for spiritual nourishment, and Mary could feel the weight of their despair pressing against her, like a storm cloud threatening to burst. In a moment of desperation, she decided to gather the congregation for a night of fervent prayer, invoking the valiant protection of St. Michael. On that sacred evening, as they filled the church with their heartfelt pleas, the air crackled with palpable anticipation. The scent of incense wove through the candlelit sanctuary, filling their souls with divine possibility. Mary's pastor, his voice resonating with divine fervor, delivered a prophetic message. God has a miraculous plan for us, a path forward, filled with hope, but we must step forward together. The words soared through the congregation, breathing life into parched spirits. Yet not all hearts were stirred. Shadows of doubt flickered in the corners. Whispers of skepticism slithered from the pews, stirring unrest rather than unity. Just as that bond began to fray, tragedy struck. Her daughter fell gravely ill. Panic seized Mary's heart. She wrestled with anger and fear, grappling with her motherly instincts while holding onto a fragile thread of faith. In desperation, she called for a community prayer circle. Hands clasped in solidarity as distant faces glimmered with emotion. It was a moment woven with threads of divine tension. Hearts beat as one. Then, a hush fell over the gathering, and in that silent expectancy a miracle unfolded as they prayed. A faint glow enveloped her daughter, bathing her in warmth and light. Gasps filled the air. She stirred, her eyes fluttering open. Tears streamed down Mary's face, gratitude washing over her like rain upon dry ground. It was a miraculous healing. The church erupted with joy, faith rekindled in every heart, hope igniting once more. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Mary's heart swelled with joy, yet deeper questions loomed. Was this a revival, or merely a fleeting spark? Each smile and embrace from the congregation filled her with hope, yet weighed heavy with uncertainty. How could her calling take shape amidst trials yet to come? As she knelt in gratitude, peace washed over her, but doubts persisted. What did it mean for her and her church? Could her sacred journey bring transformation not only to her family, but to a whole community weakened by despair? The tension of faith clashed with the reality of struggle, leaving her standing on the precipice of something grand. A question left unanswered. What awaited them in this season of divine purpose? The days passed like wisps of clouds against the azure sky, bringing both uncertainty and clarity to Mary's heart. As the sunlight faded each evening, the warmth of the earlier miracle lingered, but shadows of doubt still danced on the edges of her mind. She found herself wandering through the village, her thoughts heavy with the burdens of those around her. At the local market, she encountered old Mr. Thompson. His shoulders hunched like the weight of his years carried him down. "It's been hard for us all," he muttered, glancing at her with eyes that spoke of lost faith. "Do you think we can really turn things around?" His question hung in the air, a silent plea for hope. Mary felt a flicker of light pierce through her own uncertainties. "With God, all things are possible," she whispered, hoping to breathe life into his despair. But was she convincing him or herself? A crack of doubt creaked in as she recalled just how precarious their situation truly was. As she continued her walk, Mary felt the gentle nudges within her grow louder. It was as if the very essence of the village called to her, urging her to awaken the dormant spirits around her. She recalled the prayer meeting, the glow that had enveloped her daughter, and the renewed faith witnessed that fateful night. Surely this could be more than a fleeting miracle. It could become a movement, a revival of hearts yearning for the divine. That evening, lit by candlelight, she gathered a small group of women from the church under her garden's blooming lilac. The fragrant air was alive with anticipation. "Let us share our burdens," Mary encouraged, and one by one, they began to voice not only their struggles but their hopes. There was something sacred in their confessions. Pain transformed into prayer, doubt imbued with divine possibility. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the garden, prayers poured out like a melody uniting their hearts. In that sacred space, the walls of their individual fears began to bend under the weight of collective faith. Anointing flowed, each woman's voice rising as one, creating a symphony of supplication that spiraled into the night sky. Suddenly, Mary felt a surge of warmth, similar to the miracle witnessed before. A soft wind rustled the leaves above, and the gentle sigh of God's presence enveloped them. Tears streamed down cheeks, laughter mingled with cries for help, and in that space, Mary sensed a divine confirmation of her calling. This was a beginning, a shift from mere survival to thriving in faith. But even within the joy, shadows loomed. She recalled the skepticism from the church, the murmurs of doubt that lingered like cobwebs. How could they sustain this faith? What if the doubts crept back into their hearts? Mary suddenly felt the duality of faith, soaring hope intertwined with trembling vulnerability. Though called to lead, the weight of uncertainty rested heavily on her. What authentic revelations awaited on the horizon? Would courage take root and allow them to thrive against the tide of doubt? As stars blinked above, she closed her eyes, breathing in the fragrant promise of the night. Whispers of divine trust beckoned at the edges of her consciousness. What would it mean to trust fully, not just for herself but for everyone around her? Are we ready to embrace what God has in store, she wondered, the question lingering like a prayer. What awaited them was a journey toward a revelation yet unveiled, a journey that could change everything. The dawn broke with a gentle light, casting soft reflections on the dewdrops that clung to the petals in Mary's garden. She awoke with a heart still buoyed by the moments shared under the lilac. Something had shifted, a current of divine purpose weaving through their lives, and she felt a renewed commitment to lead her community into the miraculous. Gathering her thoughts for the day ahead, Mary knew that she must act. She decided to invite the women back for another meeting, but this time, it would not just be prayer. It would be a gathering focused on action, about what they could do to uplift the village. With each heartbeat, she felt a clarity grow, pushing doubt further away. As she prepared, her mind drifted to the stories of their lives, the struggles, the trials, and the moments of grace. They were not alone in this. God's presence had been, and would continue to be, evident in their journey. Later that day, she visited each of the women, personally inviting them with warmth, rekindling their hopes with words that danced like sunlight across their weary spirits. "Let us come together tonight," Mary urged, "to share our ideas, to learn how we can shine light into this darkness. Together, we can plant seeds of hope." When the sun began to sink, casting vibrant hues across the sky, her garden soon filled with familiar faces. Uncertainty lingered like an uninvited guest, yet so did the courage ignited the last time they gathered. As they settled onto the soft grass, Mary saw something remarkable. There was a flicker of eagerness in their eyes. "Tonight," she began, her voice steady and clear, Let's share not only our burdens but our dreams for this village. What if we launched a community garden, a place of bounty for all, or a charity bake sale to support families in need? Ideas flowed like the very essence of the spirit itself. The women began to speak, each voice a beautiful note in a rising chorus. Laughter erupted as they imagined the garden overflowing with vegetables and flowers, laughter from children playing nearby, neighbors gathering over steaming cups of tea. In that electric moment, Mary felt the wind gently rustle the leaves again as if approving their dreams. She could almost hear God whispering to her heart. This was more than just a gathering. It was a calling. Yet, in the back of her mind, doubt still whispered. Would the village rise with them? Would the seeds they were planting truly take root? Or would they wither beneath the weight of despair? But then she remembered the warmth that enveloped them the night before, the tears of joy and cries of hope. This was only the beginning. We must hold on to that miracle, she said, her eyes glistening with emotion. If we act out of love and faith, God can do wonders through us. Let's sow our seeds and trust Him for the harvest. With hopeful hearts, they lifted their eyes to the darkening sky. Stars began to twinkle above, each one a reminder of divine promises yet to be fulfilled. As they closed their meeting in prayer, Mary felt the power of their unity, a gathering of hearts, fueled by faith. Yet, as the last echoes of their song faded into the night, a new question emerged within her. What would their actions reveal in the days to come? Would they encounter unexpected obstacles that tested their resolve? God, guide us in this journey ahead, Mary whispered, her spirit ignited with anticipation. The path grew brighter, yet shadows remained, teasing the edges of their purpose. What divine confirmations awaited them, ready to unveil the greatness of His plan? With each step forward, Mary felt the thrill of the unknown. And so the question lingered in the cool night air. Would they dare to embrace the miraculous ahead? As the sun peeked over the horizon, Mary opened her window to a new day, her heart swelling with hope. She could feel the excitement lingering from the night before. The connections forged amongst the women felt like a delicate thread weaving them closer, and each stitch made them stronger. Mary moved through her garden with purpose, tending to each plant as if they were individual dreams taking root. She replayed last night's meeting in her mind, the laughter, the ideas, the shared visions for their village. Each thought brought a smile to her face. Yet as she watered the vibrant blooms, a whisper of worry brushed against her spirit. Are we truly ready? She pondered. Is this the right moment for such ambitious plans? The doubts rumbled like distant thunder, but she silenced them with a prayer. Lord, grant me clarity. Lead us where you want us to go. Later that day, as Mary walked through the village, she noticed how the light fell upon the faces of her neighbors. Some were burdened, their brows knitted together, while others carried the weight of silence. Each one has a story, she thought, her heart aching for them. She passed by the old community center, its windows dusty, and sighed. What if we could revive this place? The idea ignited a spark within her. What if they transformed it into a gathering spot for learning and sharing? That evening she called the women once again. Let us gather, but this time to explore our next steps more deeply. Under the deepening twilight, they settled together in that sacred space, the garden, shimmering with evening dew. Faces illuminated by a circle of soft candlelight, Mary felt an electric anticipation fill the air. I've been thinking, she began, her voice catching their attention like a crisp breeze. What if we cleaned up the old community center and turned it into our hub of activity, a place for our garden projects, a space to host classes and gatherings? Gasps of surprise swept through the group. Excited chatter followed, flowing freely, like rivers merging into one. But can we really do that? One woman asked, glancing around at her friends. Why not? Mary countered, her courage rising. If God is for us, who can stand against us? We have the resourcefulness of these amazing women. Together, we've already overcome so much. As the women animatedly discussed plans of peeling paint and cleaning supplies, Laughter rippled through the gathering. She could see the spark returning to their eyes, the flicker of hope reigniting. Each voice held power, dreams intertwining to form a bigger picture painted by faith. However, Mary noticed the uncertainty creeping back. Doubts loomed larger now. Where would they find the resources, time, materials? "Friends," she said, their laughter softening into a hush. "Remember what we prayed for last night. If we trust in His plan, miracles await us. Let's put those worries aside and focus on what we can do today." With renewed energy, they dove into the details, strategizing how they could garner support from the town, engaging the local businesses, and rallying other neighbors to join this community effort. Mary felt an invisible thread weaving them together, each word and idea forging a bond of faith. As they stirred stories of seasons past and dreams for the future, Mary felt a vision emerging. This was more than just a community center revival. It was a revival of hearts. That night, as the stars twinkled overhead, Mary held each woman's gaze, finding strength and resolve in their eyes. Let us pray over this mission, that God may guide our hearts, make our hands strong, and reveal His successes upon us. With prayers echoing into the night, they felt it, an unmistakable presence wrapping around them, assuring them of divine support. Yet, in Mary's heart, another question nestled itself quietly. How would their small steps create the path toward a transformation they could hardly imagine? As they finished, a quiet breath of anticipation hung in the air. The journey was just beginning. What trials, blessings, or revelations awaited them in the days to come? The dawn arrived unexpectedly bright and radiant, flooding Mary's heart with a warmth that felt like divine assurance. As she stepped softly through her garden, dew glistening on the petals, she could almost hear the whispers of tomorrow's possibilities, urging her onward. Today, she pondered, would be a day of action. Gathering her courage, she set off to visit the village hall, where local leaders met weekly. With each step, she felt the weight of her mission pressing down, yet mingled within that weight was a buoyant sense of purpose. She barely noticed the warmth of the sun on her skin, too consumed by her thoughts. What words would best convey her vision? Upon arriving, she paused outside the door, taking a deep breath. "Lord, give me strength," she prayed, then entered. The room was filled with the chatter of men and women discussing town matters. She cleared her throat, rising to the challenge. Pulling her shoulders back, she stepped into the circle of conversation. "Excuse me," she called, a mix of determination and vulnerability in her voice, drawing all eyes toward her. "I have an idea that I believe will benefit the entire community. With your support, we can revive the old community center. It can become a hub for classes, a gathering place, a sanctuary of hope." A hush fell over the crowd, followed by whispers. The local council head, Mr. Thompson, raised an eyebrow. "Mary, while we commend your enthusiasm, do you truly believe we have the resources for such a venture? That old building is beyond hope." Taking a deep breath, she replied, "Yes. If we pull our resources together, we can transform it. I truly believe that starting with cleaning and repainting can inspire others. It can ignite hope. With faith and cooperation, we can create something beautiful. But we need your help, really. We need the town behind us." As she spoke, she felt the familiar flutter of fear mixed with unwavering hope. Would they hear her? But a ripple of murmurs passed through the crowd, and she sensed curiosity igniting. One by one, eyes softened and thoughtful expressions spread among the council members. "Should we meet and discuss this further?" Another voice chimed in, a woman from the back who had always been an ally to Mary. "We could come together and brainstorm ways to make this happen." Encouragement blossomed, filling the room with a vibrant energy. Joy bubbled inside Mary, as if she were witnessing the budding flowers in her garden come alive with color and radiance. Days turned into weeks, and each meeting became a stepping stone, a visible manifestation of their combined faith. Word spread. Residents began offering their time, tools, and even resources. One afternoon, Mrs. Harris, an elderly painter, volunteered paint for the center. A shop owner provided brushes while others brought snacks for the gathering. Touches of warmth surrounded them as laughter echoed in the halls of their shared efforts. Yet even amidst the growing excitement, shadows of doubt lurked within Mary. Could they truly bring this plan to fruition? As she knelt in prayer, tears of gratitude streamed down. Lord, you are opening doors I never thought possible. Keep my heart steady and my spirit bold, she whispered, her hands clasped tightly. Then, as the volunteers gathered around for their first day of cleaning, something remarkable happened. Mary had just finished organizing supplies when she noticed a new face among the crowd. A stranger, a woman with gentle eyes and a warm smile approached. I heard about what you're doing here, she said softly. I believe in this project. I can help. The woman's words released a joyful exhale from Mary's heart. It was a reminder that divine connections could come from unexpected places. Just then, a doubt fluttered into her mind. What if this wasn't a coincidence? With the day stretching before them like an open road, Mary felt a surge of faith. If this was indeed part of a greater plan, what awaited them on the horizon? As she looked around at the eager faces, the answer lay just beyond their grasp. What would unfold next? What challenges would deepen their faith and reaffirm their purpose? The journey lingered before them, shrouded in the refreshing mystery of divine possibilities, and Mary could only wait in anticipation. The sun bathed the gathering in a golden glow, as the community rallied around their shared mission. Mary felt the palpable excitement in the air. Her heart swelled with the pure joy of connection. Every hand put forth was a testament to their collective hope. The once neglected center began to take on new life, not just as a building, but as a symbol of faith and unity. As the day unfolded, laughter filled the corners of the old center. Volunteers worked side by side, scrubbing surfaces and painting walls. Each brushstroke, each laugh exchanged, felt like an offering, a prayer for renewal. Mary moved among them, feeling the warmth of purpose fuel her spirit. But in the midst of this joy, a thought nagged at her. How could one small effort produce lasting change? Would the community truly pull together when it came time for bigger decisions, bigger challenges? The gentle-eyed stranger, whom Mary learned was named Clara, stayed close by her side. Clara's quiet wisdom filled the gaps that doubt sought to create. Offense must be taken, Clara reminded her one afternoon, dipping a brush into a vibrant color. When people see your passion, it ignites something in them. Your heart is alight. Mary nodded but felt the weight of her fears pressing against her resolve. What if they lose interest? What if they see it as impossible, like some just laugh it off? Clara paused, her brow furrowing slightly. Then you remind them why they started. Renewal begins in the heart, and you, she leaned nearer, you are the catalyst. These words became a prayer for Mary. Each time her heart whispered uncertainty, she recalled Clara's voice, a gentle scriptural reassurance echoing in her mind. The surrounding laughter faded into sacred silence as she reflected on this newfound truth. As the days danced past, the community gathered again, ready to brainstorm future activities beyond cleaning and painting. Ideas flowed like the vibrant colors now gracing the walls. They spoke of workshops, art classes, youth gatherings, moments of connection that would breathe life into the very soul of their village. Mary closed her eyes, envisioning it all. She could see laughter echoing off the walls, children playing, neighbors uniting over shared experiences. This is just the beginning, she exclaimed, her voice rising above the chatter. If we keep this momentum, we can build something that lasts, something that honors the love we share as a community. But as they dove deeper into planning, an unexpected setback surfaced. A significant storm loomed just beyond the horizon, and weather forecasts warned of destructive winds that could threaten their progress. Panic spread through the group like wildfire. Would all their hard work be washed away? Mary felt the tides of despair hit her heart anew. What if we need to suspend everything? She whispered to no one in particular. They had built hopes and dreams around this space, yet now it all felt so fragile against the impending storm. Clara stepped closer, her voice steady yet comforting. Sometimes the storm is a part of the story. Sometimes it is a test. What if, by trusting, we honor our faith. What if the storm merely serves to clear the path ahead? This perspective ignited something within Mary. Could it be true that the storm was not just a threat, but an opportunity? Would it lead them to trust in something beyond their own understanding? Determination rose within her. She gathered the group, her heart full of daring hope. We cannot control the winds, but we can choose how we respond. Let us pray and prepare together. No challenge is too great when faced with faith, and as they bowed their heads, a collective stillness settled upon them. In that sacred moment, Mary felt the gentle thrill of divine purpose wrapping around her like a warm embrace. With the storm looming, what would their answer be? Would their faith hold steadfast, or would it break under pressure? It was a challenge that would test them all. Yet, just maybe, there was divine strength waiting on the other side. As the storm clouds rolled in, a hush fell over the community gathering. Mary stood at the center, her heart racing. She felt the burden of their hopes swirling in the air, mingling with the tension of uncertainty. The mix of fear and faith danced within her, and she knew the stakes were high. Yet within that heavy silence, an unexpected warmth enveloped her. Clara squeezed Mary's hand, a subtle reminder of their intertwined spirits. "We must be like trees," she whispered, deeply rooted yet flexible enough to bend with the winds. Mary closed her eyes, envisioning the way trees swayed despite the fury around them. "Yes, we must endure. We must believe," she murmured, feeling the truth behind those words strengthen her own determination. It was time to rally the courage within them all. With a deep breath, she stepped forward to address her friends. "I know the wind seems fierce, but we will adapt. Together we are stronger." Her voice, once trembling, now rang with conviction. "Let us not fear, but embrace this as a chance to test our faith. We will prepare, but we will also pray." The group nodded, drawn in by her rising passion. Their faces lit up, shifting from worry to determination. Together, they crafted a plan. While some began securing the outside areas against potential damage, others formed prayer circles, lifting their voices to the heavens. Mary could almost feel the weight of their prayers rising like incense. Time flowed swiftly. The first gusts hit, rattling windows and rustling leaves. But inside the center, an atmosphere of peace emerged. Laughter still filtered through, mingling with the steady hum of prayers. Then something remarkable occurred. As the storm raged on, the lights flickered and dimmed across the town. Yet here in their sanctuary, it felt as if a gentle glow remained. Mary noticed a shimmer of warmth around Clara's face, a glow that added clarity and assurance to their efforts. "God is with us," Clara said softly, instilling hope in the hearts around her. "This moment is ours to shape." Just then, the wind howled louder, almost in response to Clara's conviction. The group tightened their circles, hands clasped in solidarity. Mary took a step back, witnessing a transformation. Instead of fear-stricken faces, there was unity. Brothers and sisters standing shoulder to shoulder, hearts beating as one. In that holy chaos, Mary felt something profound happen. A realization moved through her. A divine nudge that perhaps this storm was less about trial and more about revelation. "What if this is our call to action?" she spoke aloud, and the murmurs of agreement followed. "What if we still reach out even as the storm passes? There are people out there who need us, who need hope." Clara's gaze sparkled as she met Mary's eyes. "Yes, let us show our community that while the storm may come, our faith does not waver." With renewed energy, they began jotting down plans to extend their hand, even during the storm. Care packages, warm meals. Let's remind them they are not alone, Mary encouraged, her excitement swelling. And so, despite the raging storm outside, a new mission emerged within that gathering space. Their calling was not limited to preserving their center. It expanded into meeting the very needs of their neighbors. Strangers would become friends through acts of kindness birthed amidst turmoil. Just then the winds began to shift. Clouds parted slightly, allowing shafts of light to break through, a divine reminder of presence. Mary felt tears prick her eyes. It was as if the heavens were affirming their decision. But as they prepared to send love out into the world, a rattling noise came from the center's entrance. A figure stumbled in, soaked and breathless. It was John, the town carpenter, well known but seen less often lately due to personal struggles. "I need help," he gasped, eyes wide with urgency. As a hush filled the room, Mary glanced at Clara, feeling the weight of what came next. Would John's arrival become a turning point? Did the storm bring him here for a reason? What was God unveiling in this unexpected moment? In that suspended silence, Mary knew the answer was just beginning to unfold. Mary's heart raced as the tension hung in the air, weighted with John's desperate plea. The room thrummed with uncertainty, the worry etched on every face. But Mary felt an undeniable pull towards him. John was a pillar in their community, always offering support and expertise. It seemed unnatural, more painful to see him so vulnerable. "John, what happened?" Clara stepped forward, her voice gentle yet firm, as if calling out to a wounded deer. "It's my workshop," he gasped, still catching his breath. "The roof collapsed under the heavy rain. I've lost everything." His eyes, light but haunted, searched theirs for understanding. Mary's heart sank. The workshop was more than just a space. It was where John created, where dreams transformed into furniture and crafts that served their community. His hands crafted not just wood, but love. "Let's gather around him," Mary called, feeling an urgency surge through her. As they formed a circle, she reached out and placed her hand on John's shoulder, steadying him as he began to shake. "You're not alone in this," she assured him. "We will help you rebuild." The small group began to murmur agreement, each voice strong and confident, anchoring John's spirit. Mary could feel their shared determination swirl around them, a unified force fueled by their collective faith. "What do you need?" Clara asked, her eyes shining with empathy. John took a moment. "I need tools, supplies, and more than anything, hope. I thought I could rebuild it alone, but..." His voice trailed off, the words trapped between despair and realization. "We can rally the community," Mary proposed, excitement mingling with purpose. "This isn't just about you, John. This is about us. We can turn this setback into a blessing, a moment to show everyone that love builds stronger foundations than any hammer or nail can. And we can gather what we need," Clara chimed in. "Let's put out the word. We can organize. Everyone can contribute in some way." As they strategized to help John, the storm outside began to wane. The winds softened as if acknowledging the power of their unity. Mary caught sight of the light filtering through the windows, illuminating their faces in a warm glow. Strength surged through her, a divine promise written upon their souls. "Let's spread the word," Mary urged, raising her voice. "We are not just praying, we are taking action. This is our calling. Faith without works is dead." The group erupted into energy, each person quickly taking responsibilities. Some would make calls, others gather supplies. All would offer prayer and support. Mary watched as the fear and despair from moments ago were exchanged for hope and determination. It was as if the storm had stripped away their hesitation, leaving behind only courage to act upon faith. John looked around, his eyes shining with gratitude. "I didn't expect this, but I see now how we are intertwined, how our fates are connected. I thought I would be alone in this storm, but..." "Never alone," Clara interjected, her voice soft yet strong. "There is always a way forward when we stand together." And just as these words filled the air, a gentle sound fell upon them. The soft patter of raindrops began anew, this time light and soothing, like a blessing from above. It echoed like a promise of renewal, wrapping around them in a tender embrace. John exhaled, visibly lighter. It was as if he had received a fresh anointing, a new vision igniting within him. "Thank you. Truly." As the group finalized their plans, Mary had an exciting thought, a way to bring even more people into this shared miracle. What if they turned John's misfortune into a community event? A day of service, a festival of renewal. "Let's call it Hope Rising," she exclaimed. Eyes sparkled with enthusiasm as they rallied around the name. the storm outside now thrumming a beat of anticipation, promising transformation. But just as hope began to swell, Mary caught a glimpse of something more. A figure standing just beyond the door, half hidden in shadow. A presence that felt both familiar and enigmatic. Who was it? What divine message might they bring? A new wave of wonder washed over her. What if they became the beacon of light not just for John but for many others? What choices lay ahead? Hidden promises waiting to be revealed in this stormy moment. The figure stood there, shrouded in the soft light of the doorway. Mary squinted, trying to discern who it might be. As the shadows danced, she felt a beckoning warmth envelop the room. It drew everyone's eyes toward the threshold, where the silhouette began to take shape. "Come in," Mary called, her voice cutting through the hush. "We're in need of support and encouragement." Slowly, a woman stepped forward, her face illuminated by the gentle glow spilling in from outside. It was Isabel, a beloved elder of their village, known for her wise words and comforting presence. Her eyes sparkled with a knowing spirit, a glimmer of something sacred and hopeful. Mary's heart filled with relief. "Thank you for joining us, Isabel," she said, motioning for her to come closer. Isabel held up her hands, silencing the growing chatter. "I felt the stirrings of the Holy Spirit as I approached," she began, her voice soothing like a balm. "I knew that my community needed me tonight. I sensed a beautiful gathering of hearts willing to rise from the ashes." John looked up, curiosity melding with his gratitude. "We're planning a day of service called Hope Rising to help rebuild my workshop," he explained, his voice trembling but filled with eagerness. Isabel nodded, an approving smile dancing on her lips. "Wonderful. A beautiful way to bring forth God's grace. I have much to share." As she spoke, the sound of rainfall shifted outside. It wasn't the storm they had just weathered, but a gentle drizzle, punctuated by bursts of laughter and joy from distant children playing in the park. It felt as if the universe itself rejoiced with them. "John, my dear," Isabel began, turning her gaze to him. "This roof that has collapsed symbolizes more than just your workshop. It speaks to the foundations within our lives and the calls God places in our hearts. Sometimes the storm is necessary to shake off what is no longer sturdy or needed." Mary felt a shiver course through her as Isabel continued. "God wants to build you back up with something new and lasting. Trust in His divine purpose. Every broken piece can become part of a greater story." A hush fell upon the group. The words sank deep, igniting flickers of understanding in hearts. John's eyes shone, absorbing the profound truth before him. "What do I need to do?" he whispered, every syllable heavy with longing. "Answer the call," Isabel urged. "When God is present, He doesn't merely leave you with hope. He gives you the means. You shall work alongside your community, and together, let the bricks of love rebuild your sturdy refuge." Mary felt the rustle of a breeze brush against her skin, carrying with it the spirit of expectancy. "Isabel, what if we involve not only John's workshop, but extend this day to those in need across our village? There are so many who struggle." "Yes." Clara jumped in, eyes alive with inspiration. "We could create a festival of service, where we come together to uplift every heart in need." Isabel smiled at the swelling enthusiasm around her. "The Lord will honor this ambition. When your focus lies in lifting others, your own burdens become lighter." As they all discussed ideas, laughter bubbled and the energy lifted every heart present. They spoke of food drives, clothing collections, and painted murals of hope. Plans began to swirl, weaving among them, illuminating paths of compassion they had not yet dared to tread. Yet just as they settled into their hopeful plans, Isabel turned her gaze out into the night sky. Her expression shifted slightly, sensing something deeper, a reverence stirring in the air around them. "There is a reason I felt compelled to come tonight." Mary leaned in, anticipating the words. What revelation lay ahead? God is about to reveal a blessing you did not see coming. Sometimes a vision is granted to those willing to be vessels. Keep your hearts open, As they pondered these words, Mary felt a lightness in her chest, a soothing sense of divine possibility unfolding. She knew the plans they crafted were just the beginning. But what would this blessing be? What fresh miracles awaited on the dawn of hope rising? The question hung in the charged atmosphere, drawing them closer, ready to embrace whatever awaited. The day of hope rising dawned with a radiance that mirrored the joy swelling in Mary's heart. She awoke to birds singing, a symphony of gratitude resonating through the air. It was a new beginning, not just for John, but for the entire village. The spirit of unity hummed through her as she prepared for the day ahead. As the sun rose higher, Mary felt the electric anticipation building among her friends. Each face she encountered wore a bright smile, filled with purpose. The community center transformed from a building clad in isolation to a lively hub of activity, with volunteers rallying from every corner of the village. "What beautiful energy!" Clara exclaimed, threading through the crowd. She approached Mary, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "Look at how many people came. Can you believe this?" The heart of the community pulsed like a drum, echoing the rhythm of hope. Tables overflowed with supplies of food, paint, and tools. Laughter floated through the air like the promise of blessings to come. Mary's spirit soared. She felt consumed by a fire within, a drive to lead them into something truly miraculous. As they gathered for a moment of prayer, Mary took the opportunity to express her gratitude, her voice cracking with emotion. "Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for every soul here, united in vision and hope. May our hands build not just structures, but lives renewed." With fervent amens filling the air, they dispersed into groups, tackling different projects, filling that sacred space with purpose. Mary watched as John rallied neighbors to help him gather materials. A rising tide of faith washed over her. She knew that this was more than about bricks and paint, this was about rebirth. As the day unfolded, she caught sight of a familiar figure moving past. The soft footsteps of Isabel, quietly weaving through moments of laughter and labor, sharing her wisdom every step of the way. Every time she spoke, lives shifted. Her presence felt like a warm embrace from heaven, nurturing the budding faith swirling around them. With newfound determination, John swung a hammer, laughter and tears mingling as walls went up and dreams began to take shape. Each swing echoed their commitment to rise together, each nail clanging out a victorious rhythm of hope. Yet amid the thriving energy, Mary heard whispers of uncertainty fluttering through the village. Old wounds resurfaced in hesitant conversations, burdens still carried from previous storms. Doubt lurked in the corners, threatening to snuff out the bright flame. "Just breathe. Trust the process," Clara murmured next to Mary as they passed by families from all walks of life, some skeptical of change. "It's good to see everyone here despite their fears. That's a beautiful manifestation of hope." But as the day wore on, dark clouds gathered once more, shadowing their work. The winds picked up, and distant rumbles echoed through the valley, like the reminder of trials they thought were behind them. Was this a sign? Mary felt a stab of apprehension, but she steadied herself, recalling Isabel's words. What if this storm wasn't a setback, but a test of their resolve? Birds scattered from the trees as raindrops began to fall, thick and heavy like divine weeping. "Gather everyone in!" John shouted over the rising din, leading people back into the community center. Shelter became their sanctuary. Inside they sat in cold silence, hearts beating heavily with concern. Mary could feel doubt creeping in again, shadows threatening to overtake the light they had built. But just as she wondered how to pull everyone together, Isabel stood, her presence reigniting hope. "My friends," she said gently, "this storm is but a moment. Look around. Each one of you represents strength. Challenges may come, but remember, God is with us. The light shines brighter through the darkness." Those words broke the silence like a warm sunbeam piercing through dark clouds. Murmurs of agreement filled the room, encouragement sparking to life once more. Mary felt a spark flood back into the gathering. "Let's sing," Clara called out. her voice rising above the murmurs as she began to hum a familiar tune. Voices joined around her, blending together into a powerful chorus, echoing off the walls. As they sang, the storm outside quieted, and an inexplicable warmth pressed down on them, wrapping them in divine reassurance. Suddenly, a knock echoed against the door, so unexpected that everyone paused. Who was braving the storm? A sense of anticipation swelled within Mary as she motioned for someone to open it. In walked the mayor, drenched from the rain but holding a glistening object in hand. Mary's breath caught. What could it be? John, the mayor smiled, setting a beautifully crafted wooden plaque on a nearby table. This is a key to the community's commitment. The town has rallied to donate resources for your workshop rebuild. You'll not only have a place to create, you'll have our shared vision as foundation. Gasps filled the room. An eruption of joy followed, claps and cheers ringing through the center, drowning the remnants of the storm. Each heart swelled with a gratitude they could barely contain. As Mary embraced John, she whispered, "Look how far we've come. This isn't just your workshop, it's the symbol of our faith rising together." With laughter still echoing, Isabel stepped back into the circle. Today marks the beginning of a new story. Your love and devotion have sparked a revival for all in the future ahead. It shines bright. Embrace the journey woven ahead. Hold tightly to this moment. The rain slowed outside and sunlight began to peek through the clouds, illuminating every smiling face. And in that sacred space, surrounded by love, encouragement, and faith, they all felt it. This was not merely a day of service. It was a grand awakening to the power of community, the gift of unity, and the promise that with God, miracles indeed take the shape of hope. As the festivities continued, Mary knew this was just the beginning, that they had been called to something far greater than themselves. And finally, they were ready to embrace the divine revelation waiting just beyond the horizon. Now, dear brothers and sisters in faith, the time has come for you to act. Subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith testimonies that can inspire and uplift your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click is a way to spread the word, and your support truly matters. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about how this story touched your heart. We want to hear from you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see these miraculous manifestations of faith. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second. Join our mission to spread hope far and wide.